What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 2 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Count Noctilus Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, we have started the conquest of the Maelstrom, taking about maybe a third of it so far, wiping out 2 minor factions, and then moving on to declare war upon wipe out the main stack of Sigvald the Magnificent, not so magnificent no more, and are looking to wipe him out this episode as well as this little Vampire Coast Red Hand Fleet faction down here before moving on and northward. The other legendary lord that we have contending with us for ownership of the Maelstrom and of the entirety of the, Maelstrom and Galleon's Graveyard is Scrag the Slaughterer, and we can see that he is currently at war with this other Vampire Coast faction. So hopefully those pirates will keep them busy while we plunder everything else and then turn to plunder them too. In terms of what we got to do this turn still, we have moved everybody, as this was just post the fight of Sigvald last time, but we did level up to level 5 for Harry Anstead, which means we can get our first, he actually leveled up to level 6, but we can get our first office up and running. And by the looks of it, I like the recruitment costs and the income from ports, and this will be very powerful later on because, a lot of our income is coming from ports, but now it's not too major. Construction cost -10 for all provinces, however. Pirate crew growth, research rate, this is pretty fantastic, and by and large probably going to be vastly superior to anything else. Though I do like all of the bonuses to all of the range units. We can certainly make good use of that, and I can't wait to get those flamethrowers up and running, or actually they don't spew flame, but corpse gas, but close enough. Anyway, Fleet Engineer, Harry Arnstead, or Anstand rather, and does that come into effect immediately? Yes, it does. We're now at 3.6k for the Dead Pirates holdout. I guess we'll get this up and running right now, and then also build the Obsidian Quarry, which is another 10% reduction, but we're not waiting this amount of turns, let's face it. Though I suppose... What we could do also is get out of the share the spoils thing and stay at 0 control. You know what, this might actually not be too bad of an idea. Cancel this and then go into Bat Swarms to get the construction time reduction, which will drop this by 1 turn anyway, and then we can still save a little bit of cash. I don't know if it's worth it, but that's what we're gonna do. Let's go with that, I guess. Actually, you know what? I feel like no. I'm nickel and diming too much. I'll let it happen as it is. Otherwise, I don't think that there is anything of significance this turn, so pretty much immediately. What's over here? Oh, right, our other territory. Let's get the Wreck of the Unsinkable up and running as well. Like so, there goes all our cash, and trying to get that iron up and running, and the construction cost reduction therein as well. Now we can end the turn. Alrighty, and usually I skip through this, and I may still very well skip through at least part of this, but while the turn is ending, for those unfamiliar, we do an engagement threshold type deal on this channel as to determine the episode length and various other things. So, for example, if we reach 500 likes and I believe 70 comments, the next episode will be an hour-ish long. I don't believe in clocks, so I can never keep it to exactly an hour, but the longer episodes as opposed to the shorter episodes. So if you like them long, do keep that in mind and drop those likes and comments below. Anyway, Red Hand Fleet wants a non-aggression peg, but that's not going to happen. All of the Galleon's Graveyard must belong to Noctilus, and so bizarre seeing 421 factions all over again. In Drazuath's faction, I believe we're down to nearly 200 after all the minor factions did get destroyed. And I know there was the option of getting the submod or whatever that would reduce the number of minor factions on the map, but I decided once again, similar to the Chaos Dwarf campaign, not to do that. I like the sort of randomness that is offered by having all the minor factions. Hello, Morngul Haunter. Yes, I love the Gunnery Whites, I really do, but we already have 2, and we were looking to get a Morngul Haunter up and running ASAP. Anyway, let's give this a read, though. Ahoy there. We come across an enemy encampment encampment devoid of life and littered with corpses. Half-devoured bodies are scattered about the clearing. The fallen dead were elite riflemen. Surely one among them will be of use to us, or perhaps we should seek out the creature that caused this massacre. Capture the Mourngull Haunter. Alrighty, and salvage cruises. Oh, I forgot about that. Well, it's up and running now. Too late. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Does mean that if there's something really nice in here, 20% weapon strength is reasonably significant. Raise dead cost minus 20% early on. Not too bad at all. Armies replenish in foreign territory and casualty or punishment rate. Pretty darn solid early game as well. What else do we have here? Necromancer's Apprentice banner gives healing and ward save. I do wonder if this can be applied to lords because that's significant on Noctilus. Ooh, Ship's Carpenter. Now, you know what? We got to start with the Ship's Carpenter. Minus 50% construction cost for all ships buildings is insane. And actually, it probably then wasn't a mistake to grab this just because of that. I feel like I had it in the back of my memory from playing Aranessa before, and that this was the way to go. Oh, the Talayan Pavis is a item that pretty much any faction can get, I guess, because the Chaos Dwarves can get this too. I remember I was putting it on the sorcerers. Interesting. Anyway, that would probably be useful to us as well, at least when our units have mounts, and we got it immediately. Lovely. What's our infamy at? Ooh, that 500 did set us back, admittedly, and we're just gonna have to get more. And where can we get more? By winning more battles. Now, we are able to reach Skull Island, though there's no guarantee that we can immediately land. I wonder if it would be better to go for Skull Island first and then go down here. Kind of unclear as to where this territory is, and... oh, actually, we can go like this, probably. Meaning it might be better to go for the wreck of the Tariq first. So, Tariq, let's go for you, shall we? Oh, we could still probably move. You know what? Let us have Airy and Stand. First of all, trade the spare zombie gunnery mob to you, and then attack this. See if there's any armies around, and I don't see any. Alright, so you're gonna go like this, and Pyrrhic Victory, we'll see about that in a second. And we'll move Count Noctilus in like so. And reinforce. Aha! These guys are rebuilding their armies, but I'm willing to bet that we won't give them time to rebuild what they need. And get Sigvald back. Leadership assigned for the standard discipline, kind of meh, but it's fine. And you will occupy the place. I like so. Feel very tempted to raise stuff, but I guess it's not needed. And lose the standard discipline. What do we have here? Any full stacks around? We saw that these guys did have a full stack, and then they lost it fighting the Red Hand fleet. So I guess that worked out nicely for us. Noctilus, you can move away from Airy here. I assume that these guys wouldn't actually be physically capable of reaching us, so we can move on towards their territory. Or actually, we'd probably heal a lot less, wouldn't we, if we tried? We'll still... well, actually, I'm curious. 9, 8, 4, and 2. And if we cross this... what are we at here? 1,063 and 2. We actually heal more in enemy territory than our own territory. Okay, that's interesting. Now, why would that be? Not that I'm complaining, mind you. Anyway, gotta get that Ship's Carpenter, and then we'll get the casualty replenishment in foreign territory as well. Though, it's not crazy useful, ironically, to the Vampire Coast, somewhat, because of the fact that, well, we'd otherwise suffer attrition in their territory, and non-vampiric territory, so, anyway. Let's upgrade you, Haunted Hovels. Gotta keep our money flowing, though. Gotta watch out for these guys randomly declaring war and attacking our undefended territories, but we're not likely to build defensive structures, so that ain't gonna change. Anyway, also, did I not get a Mourngull Haunter? Yes, I did. Reed King. Oh, you had to spawn all the way at our capital, didn't you? You have Swift Haunt, which unfortunately is kind of terrible. More likely than not, we'll actually delete you once we have capacity for our own Mourngull Haunter, which we are looking to get still. We just need tier 3 for it. Alright, you know what? I think this guy is not worth our time. He's going to cost us 315 gold per turn, and at level 1, this is just not a good enough trait to be worth our time. As fantastic as these guys are, I love Mourngul Haunters. They're great all-arounder heroes that are good at everything. But we'll disband you, and we'll get our own shortly. I'd rather save the cash. Anyway, I believe that's it for this turn. Once again, unassigned skill points, and oh man, they... please make it worth my while, because these old world campaigns do take a ton of editing since I edit out every single end turn. So yeah, drop those likes and comments below. I'm sorry to keep bringing this up, but it's just the way that YouTube works, as annoying as it is. It is what it is. Anyway, let's end the turn. Let's do some editing, future me. Alrighty, disciplinarian, good. There we go. Construction cost minus 50% for ships buildings. Ship's carpenter, beautiful. Quaff the Raven, Zintian corruption somewhere, and ooh, talisman of preservation for researching 8 technologies. That we can do, methinks. Speaking of technologies, though it is costly, what we'll do next is, though I am admittedly tempted by the spell of the Necromancer's Apprentice, I'm going to say the casualty or punishment rate is just too valuable not to get. Oh, and then there's the raised dead cost, but I think we can do without for now. So let's do this one and then probably the raised dead cost, and then start getting one of these up and running as well. And we'll figure out which one after. Noctilus, you're at rank 9, trying to get to that rank 12, but for now, just grab that ship's carpenter if you would. And grab the standard of discipline. Alright, and I wonder if you can reach this island. I'm just going to assume that you cannot. Or at least hope that you cannot. Anyway, Noctilus, I see that Siggy's not back. Let's see if these guys are willing to be drawn out of the garrison and fight on field rather than in the siege, where obviously the AI has a huge disadvantage. I mean, I guess we do too, but I prefer the field battles. They're just generally more fun. Ooh, we should level before we fight, though. You, Beatrice Holloway, you are going to go ahead and... let's go through Spiteful Shot. We could potentially use the bonus accuracy to pump out long-range damage out of the Necrofex Colossus, which otherwise would not be super effective at it. And then the Gunnery White can grab Enchanted Ballistics as fast as possible, though the fact that the Dreaded Marksman gives Ballistics calibration probably means that it's a good idea to eventually replace this guy with the Sawed-Off Barrel with a Ballistics calibration guy as well, at least in a range-focused army. In a melee-focused army like this one, I'll have to think about it. Though admittedly, we could still use Ballistics Calibration to pump out more damage of the Necrofex Colossi, so there's that. Anyway, let's go after Azul. And every Chaos guy is named Azul. They really love that name. It's like the John of Chaos. Let's see what we got here. Looks like they are willing to fight. A valiant defeat, casualties high, but no hell cannon in sight, and thus I'm pretty darn confident. Let's get the standard of discipline on... more likely to suffer a lot of damage. I mean, against ranged enemies is probably the Necrofex, but against anything else is probably the Depth Guard, because we send them into the most dangerous fights. Anyway, it looks like a fun little fight, lots of Chaos Warriors and such. Go.
Inevitable death!
Alright, here we go. Nice little command squad for Noctilus. Moving on in, Noctilus himself is a Vampire Fleet Captain of Depths, and then our 2 and Gunnery Whites moving to knock out that Chaos Lord before the entirety of the enemy forces get here. There we go, a very inaccurate shot from our Necrofex Colossus, but that's about as expected. And the enemy Lord will move around and take a few hits from our Gunnery Whites. Probably also not super effective, but, well, it's something. And just a little bit of trickle damage before we close the distance, and hopefully not take too much damage on Noctilus or our Vampire Fleet Captain. Actually, did a little bit. I saw like 15% of the HP drop, which wasn't too bad at all. And the enemy Lord continues chasing us. And that, was that actually a hit? That might have actually been a hit on Noctilus. Well, good job to you, sir. Take a few more bullets, although it looks like the enemy hits and the bullets go wide. Oh, well, what can you do? Now, I'm going to speed this up a teensy bit while we run around a little bit and get our army into position for the enemies to arrive. There we go. Time for a little bit of tag team action as Noctilus moves in together with his vampire fleet captain. And they really shouldn't have any trouble dealing with a single enemy lord. The enemy reinforcements are making their way on the field, and on top of that, there's other reinforcements to consider. Last episode, I was expecting the Demonette summons, and it never happened, but this episode, it looks like the AI is very much willing. And the Demonettes get summoned on top of a unit of zombie-powered gunnery mobs, and they get torn apart very, very quickly, losing about 50% of their HP. Our unit of depth guard, which is waiting behind our line to try to react to this, is attempting to close the distance and help the unit out, but it's a zombie pirate gunnery mob. They're extremely fragile, and this is exactly the type of thing and the Demonettes, basic or exalted, would excel at. And the Demonettes tear through that zombie pirate gunnery mob, racking up 100 kills and forcing the last 60 units to simply crumble away. Fortunately, our depth guard have arrived, and it looks like the enemy won't have time to knock out a second set of head loss, and knock out a second set of zombies. And while the Demonettes have been annoying us, the enemy lord has been killed off by Noctilus and his vampire fleet captain. Solid summoning from the AI, though in their place I probably would have summoned them on top of the zombie-powered gunnery mob handguns instead, as they're a more critical unit. Anyway, the enemy army moves towards us now, taking a decent shot to those Seeker chariots from the Necrofex Colossus. And Seeker chariots are pretty fragile, so let's see if they can make their way up this hill, though by the looks of it, not at all. And they led the charge by themselves and achieved nothing while doing so. Not to worry though, they've got plenty more reinforcements where that came from, so hopefully some of them will be able to do something. And very nice shot from the Necrofex Colossus. What, that's like 15% of the enemy's HP in a single shot? And decently accurate at that distance as well. Well done, Necrofex. And another one, yeah, I just wanted to see how the HP would drop, and it's going to get a lot more dangerous as this unit actually closes the distance with the pistols and the handguns as well. We have a nice hilly position that we're defending as well, and these guys are going to send their axes our way. And I'm sure knock out a few of the zombos, but that's not enough, and the unit of Marauder horses is pretty much out. Nice last axe throw, parting shot from the Marauder horseman there. I like it. I like it a lot. Anyway, we're going to speed it back up as more enemies move on in. We're not moving towards them, so we just gotta wait until the battle is well and truly joined, I suppose. Fortunately, the Marauder horses, while they are able to dish out decent damage, they are also very, very fragile, and whether it be handgunners or zombie pirate gunnery mobs, they should be destroying them without any issue. Like so, and another unit of Marauder horses is out. I'm going to move out a little bit as some of the Slaaneshi infantry now start trying to climb that hill. Alright, their calves are probably burning already, but, well, they probably enjoy that sort of thing. And it does look like they'll be able to close the distance with at least some of our zombie pirate gunnery mobs, but that's where Noctilus is as well, there to anchor the line. Gonna send a few bombs at the enemy way, following it up with a few cackle fruit as well, just to try to knock out as many of the enemy marauders as possible, and slow them down a little bit, disrupt their formation, and allow more of our handgunners to knock out a few more of the enemy before they close the distance. We are still pretty reliant on our range in this particular army, and while eventually we are fully expecting to switch the army to be more melee oriented, and it's gonna take a while to get it there because we will need Necrofexes and Depth Guard to do so, and once again they're tier 5 units. Though once again, as I mentioned last episode, I'm very willing in this campaign to go forward, mill a few turns here and there just to allow us to tech higher. and get access to all the sort of fancy army compositions rather than essentially win the campaign using only basic units. I got spoiled by the easy access to the elite units that the Chaos Dwarfs have. And I do like easy access. So, there it is. Anyway, looks like the battle is well and truly joined now. The Chaos War Shrine has arrived with Chaos Warriors in tow, but it's a big old target for our handgunners as well. Certainly a taste of our own medicine, depending on the campaign, as those Chaos War Shrines do have a tendency to get focused down by the AI as well. Searing Doom comes down from the enemy Chaos Sorcerer and clips one of our units of handguns. And the Chaos War Shrine has at this point lost about 25% of its HP, but it ain't so bad as yet. Also, I love the lighting in this particular battle. Everything is just a little bit dark. The sky is a little bit brooding, a little bit menacing, but everything's still nice and visible. The terrain being sand or beach or whatever, also quite nice for this. And definitely my favorite of the battle lighting in this campaign so far, and I'm sure we'll see plenty more as we sort of spread out and plunder the coastline of various factions. But first things first, before we start teching towards our fancier units, we gotta capture all the surrounding area of the Galleon's Graveyard and the Maelstrom. Anyway, looks like the War Shrine is out. The bounce power has shifted to about 90% in our favor, and the enemy continues to fail to take the hill. And as their center line has collapsed, we are able to get more units to hit the enemies that are still fighting in the flanks. A couple more shots and the enemy War Shrine will drop. And just got to make sure that it drops for good. There we go. And now it's just a simple matter of deleting the last of the remaining units, though by the looks of the sheer number of them that have started to rout, I'm willing to bet they didn't like seeing their War Shrine go down. And in fact, by the looks of it, with the enemy Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Metal just about out of the picture, at the very least routing, it looks like the rest of his army will give up and the battle will be fully ours. Lovely. A very nice fight, a nice held kill by the zombies, though we did take severe damage to several units. We can see the zombie-powered unit gunnery mob unit melting away in a similar fashion to those destroyed by the demonettes, but we do have to chase the enemy here, which means we might just have to let these guys crumble if a heal fails to bring them back up. Alrighty, there we go. Decent bit of enemies did manage to escape, but our army does have a bit of a difficult time chasing. Did lose 2 units of zombie-powered gunnery mobs with pistols, but, well, they're zombies. That's what they're for. It's one of the very reasons why I love the vampire counts so much. One of the many reasons why I love the vampire counts so much and why they're my favorite faction. It's because you get access to cheap chaff that is very, very easy to replace. And not caring about your losses has a tendency to make battles tend to be really, really fun. And obviously that's true for whether it be the Counts or the Coast. Otherwise, we got a very tiny amount of cash, so I think in this particular situation we will assimilate the captives for the replenishment, slight though it may be. Like so. And hopefully that'll be enough to be able to auto-resolve this. We shouldn't have killed that lord so that we could then attack without... well, whatever. Enemy killed in battle, enemy killed in battle. Another map found. Let's double check whether it's... huh? Okay, let's see where that is. It's all the way at the edge of the map and down here. Okay, yeah, that's not going to happen. Alright, we'll keep this one though because it is actually close by and just keep racking those up. Alright, next we should be able to move you in. And then hopefully auto-resolve this guy. He's gonna leave. Well, actually that'll just make it easier for us to auto-resolve it, so I'm not complaining. I wonder if you could reach him out there. Oh, but you probably wouldn't win even if you could. Noctilus very well could, but with no breaches and you don't have siege attacker, I think the reinforcements don't count for it, so we'll have to auto-resolve like this. Alright, hey, it didn't even hurt our necrophax. Fantastic, I love it. Ooh. Tempted to sack or raise it for the money, but we are keeping these territories, so it is what it is. Don't collect the income for now because the public order is horrendous. Free Trickster's Shard, eh? That's going on Noctilus, at least for now. Alrighty, and still no hand weapon, but we'll get there eventually. Level 10 on Noctilus now as well. Lovely. Yeah, I think you're too damaged to chase that guy down, so don't bother. I fear that he will attempt to besiege us, but, well, let's hope he'll fail. He might, I don't know. He'll attempt to land here, but the AI might fail at it. In which case we wouldn't suffer attrition, well, it's a risk. We'll just have to take it. Anyway, we now have that ship's carpenter, so the captain's cabin's super cheap. And okay, it'll be a while before we get the barb launcher, but next turn we can build the ship's hold and then immediately move to the cargo hold for our Morngulls, or the Morngul Hunter rather, as well as the Altar of the Abyss, our corpse cart equivalent. That'll be a significant boon. And the first of our modded expanded roster units. Alrighty, otherwise we'll level before fighting these guys. No need to do it right now. Volcano belt. Do we want to build anything? The reductions are there. It's still fairly expensive, but we should probably keep building everything up as best we can. The infamy loss per turn is also probably hurting us, but we need the bonus control at least for a little while longer before we can switch back to growth, so I think we'll maintain it there. Yeah, go for Volcano Island first. I mean, we'll build them all up eventually anyway, and hopefully nobody attacks them while our limited number of armies are away. End turn. Alrighty, supernatural regeneration, lovely, and I think the bonus replenishment will actually have come into effect this very turn, so that works out real nicely for us. Ooh, income from post-battle loot plus 20%. All we have to do is maintain control of 3 provinces. Yes, please. Man, I can't believe the infamy reward is only 10. We really need to spam that infamy. I mean, obviously it's not super critical so early, but it's certainly something to think about. These guys are building up an army now, so we have a nice Norscan stack against us there, and we'll have to wipe out Mr. Chant Viletide, so let's start on that, shall we? Alright, and fare thee well to Sigvald's faction. Probably a little bit of damage to us, but not worth our time in terms of fighting out those poor bombers. We will take the money, definitely. Decent amount of cash, and can we reach Corpse Face Cliff? That's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. Well, I mean, now we have to name somebody Corpse Face, although I'm gonna have a difficult time saying that every time. But yeah, that's written. It's written in the stars. It is fated. It is known. Where are you going? You're not at war with anybody. Oh, I don't like that. And the fact that you're beside us. Join war against Servants of Myrmidus. And you won't do that, eh? I'm extremely concerned. But if they attack us, they attack us. Let's just hope that they don't. And we'll get to them eventually anyway. Hopefully they'll be too scared of us, although I imagine our faction is rather weak right now. 273, because unlike the AI, we're not wasting all of our resources on unnecessary units. Ooh, speaking of unnecessary units, we could raise debt a little bit, should we decide to do so. Probably don't really need it for this, although a little bit over half a stack plus, yeah, it'll be a full stack essentially of Norskins here, which ain't too bad. I prefer the Morngulls. Ooh, we also get access to hand cannons now. Yes, that's good as well. We can also keep an eye on the Vampire Fleet captains. I do want that other dreaded marksman as well. Let's just take a quick look at what we have here. Staunch Corsair art. So these ones we've seen before, first mate and another Staunch Corsair. Okay, so nothing interesting on them, I guess. Anyway, we're going to Corpse Face Clip. Fantastic name, just fantastic. Alright, Corpse Face. Yeah, see, I'm already having a difficult time saying it. You go here, Noctilus, and of course Ariane Stand will reinforce. These guys are just sticking around, but they're so cheap, I mean, why? There's no real need to destroy them. And we'll fight some Norskins. Alright, let us level everybody but Noctilus, because he's saving his points. Let's get the utility belt up and running, and then I guess we're ready to start buffing up the army. So we'll start with missile strength, though... Yeah, we'll start with missile strength. Unfortunately, Scupperum doesn't apply to artillery monsters, so it's plus 8% for artillery, but not for Necrophax Colossi. A bit of a shame that, but oh well, not a big deal. You... Denizens of the Deep is probably what we want, although Fog of the Damned is pretty fantastic. Tidecall is useful as well. It's just that we don't have a lot of mana for casting, so... the expensive or the more expensive spells may not be ones we cast anyway. I guess we could go Kiss of the Deep, and then Tidecall. Maybe it's a more cheap spell. And it should still be useful in blobs of Norskins, though perhaps not as useful as some of this stuff. Enchanted Ballistics, sir. And Dead Eyes as well. Now we can just spread you two out and you can buff everybody near you. Oh, lovely, and then just to double check, it's level 12, yes, or triple check, or how many times I've checked it, I don't know. Do we want to get anything here at the Wreck of the Hammer Blaze? Frankly, the growth here is kind of atrocious, even with all the ports, so maybe we'll go for the Tree and Noose to start. Grow the place a little better. And that's with the income not being collected as well, I gotta keep in mind. Anyway, technology. Is anything here critical right now? Now, we were potentially thinking of raising some dead, but at the same time, we are... One turn cooldown? Oh, it takes one turn. Never mind. What am I talking about? Yeah, I think everything else is fine and we can ignore this right now. Our reserve capacity. Once again, I do like that spell, the Necromancer's Apprentice, but it's not a huge deal right now. Not a lot of stuff we can take advantage of here as yet. So, let's start moving through... I'm gonna say gunnery crews, because there's a lot of good stuff for buffing... Lord recruitment costs cheap, control bonus, construction costs for infrastructure, although infrastructure is admittedly already somewhat cheap at least, so it's not anything crazy. Construction time for all buildings, oh, that's actually quite nice. Movement range plus 25% for all navies. And even more bonus range from a seascape artist. That's actually quite nice as well. Go figure. Well, we'll figure it out. For now, let's save up on a little bit of that infamy, and then we'll figure it out as we go. And also, for now, let's do that Norscan fight. Pyrrhic victory, casualties high. We got some Marauder champions, and wait, just out of curiosity, is this a minor settlement? No, looks like just a field battle, which I'm happy about. Let's level you up while we're at it. Definitely drowned dead, and I'm going to say Van Hells, although, frankly, I'm just thinking that the Van Hells doesn't really help us all that much. Let's get another point in Invocation of the Heck. Mostly because this army isn't really fighting in melee a lot, though we now do need to get a few more of those gunnery mobs. Well, we'll get them back here after we take Corpse Face. Go.
Count Noctilus can rule the great ocean and the waters beyond.
Alright, not a bad speech, Noctilus. I like it a lot. And it looks like it's episode 2, round 2, and ooh, I like that shot. Episode 2, round 2, and love watching the Necrofex reload up there. And for the third time, what was I saying? Episode 2, round 2, and we got another hill, is what I was gonna say. A hilly kind of episode. Sure thing. We killed the first against the Forces of Chaos, now let's see if we can't hold the second against the Norskins. We're gonna start the battle off by moving our Necrofex Colossus to annoy the enemy as best we can, and by the looks of it, with the enemy on a hill like this, and this is actually to our advantage, as the terrible accuracy of the Necrofex Colossus unbuffed still allows it to hit multiple units when the enemy are blobbed up down a hill like this. There we go. And with the enemy's critical targets being the Marauder champions, that's of course what we'll be targeting here. Though I'm sure anything would do. And this map gives us a really, really nice position, so we are most definitely going to take advantage of that and force the enemy to come to us. Now, it's going to take a fair few shots of the Necrofex doing that, so I'll just speed it up while we do. I mean, we can only watch it shoot at one unit so many times before it gets old. And there we go. The enemy army is annoyed, heading directly towards us. We gotta get that Wraith Storm out, and by the looks of it, on another unit of Marauder champions. I am a little bit curious as to how much damage it does. About 25% of the HP of one of the units. Not too bad. And it looks like the flankers will arrive first, and once again, it's Marauder horses. Those axes fly into our defending units of zombie-powered gunnery mobs with pistols. but the horses are going to drop way quicker than our zombies will. Enemy Lord moves towards us as well and takes a fair few shots from 2 units of handguns and a couple of pistols as well, dropping down about 50% of his HP before wading into the fray. That's alright though, he can stay there as both Noctilus and his vampire fleet captain are ready to hold the line. Speaking of holding the line, we'll help out a little bit by summoning some zombies on field and getting in the way of the enemy Marauder champions, as obviously we don't really want them to close the distance directly with the much more fragile zombie pirate gunnery mod. Bombs away into enemy units that are running, and this time a Marauder champion unit, both debuffing them with the blinded, as well as disrupting their formation and holding them back, allowing us an extra few key seconds to chuck cackle fruit and bombs at them as well. The enemy flanking maneuver has failed on the right flank, and both enemy units of horses have escaped or been destroyed, and we are now focus firing the enemy Marauder hunters with javelins. A bit of a range shootout happening, but we have guns and all they've got are javelins, and we have the high ground on top of that, and the enemy javelineers melt away rather quick. We're going to move our unit over on the right flank a little bit to the side to allow the handguns to fire into this poor unit of spears as well. And there we go. You gotta love a good old-fashioned gun line, don't you? And a bomb line as well. Beautiful. Looks like the Marauder champions are still in the fight, but I'd wager probably not for too much longer. Even if they are willing to fight much longer than the Marauders just by themselves. If enough Marauders should, well, I guess they're all Marauders, but you know, basic Marauders. If enough Marauders should break, army losses will be sufficient to force the non-unbreakable champions to break. Alrighty, and besides, we've got depth guard to lead our zombies as well. Love those glowing eyes within their helmets. And they should be able to take on the Marauder champions, especially the non-great weapon variant. Sword and board will make it a little bit easier for us. And damn, that effect sends many of them flying, and it looks like that was debilitating to their morale as the last of them see their friends fly and will fly, as in flee, the battlefield themselves. Lovely. Looks like another couple of units decided to flank us as well, but they failed in the same way that the ones on the right flank did, though they did do about half damage to one of the zombie powered gunnery mobs, so good job to them. Alright, there we are, a really fun battle as we held that hill. Always tends to be a recipe for a good time, with, of course, the Necrophax Colossus dishing out the, well, maybe not the most damage, but 121 and 13k versus the 24k and 189 of one of these handgunners, and 220k for another. 15k and 163 to the depth guard as well, both of which, all of which, did a pretty good jobs. Too bad for the Norskins, they weren't able to inflict all that many casualties, and those that did were by and large simply out-healed and by invocation of Nehek. But hey, the Norskins, well, they literally brought a javelin to a gunfight, and while I will readily admit that bringing a javelin is better than bringing a knife to a gunfight, it's not that much better. But anyway, occupy the place, lovely. Speed of Lycos from Scroll of Lycos, which isn't so useful. Aid McMaggot now has a Rotting Promethean, which is nice, and Curse of the Queen's Cannon is now available. Ooh. Now, out of curiosity... Okay, wait. Things have to be done now. First of all, how much does it cost? 600 gold per turn to get Queen Bess, but it's probably the best investment you can make in the game. It's arguably the scariest single artillery piece and possibly single scariest regiment of renown in the entire game. Queen Bess is, well, aptly named. Truly the queen of artillery. Great hoard of treasure may be found. Okay, we'll take a look at you in a second. The other thing is Count Noctilus has reached rank 12. We've been saving those points for a reason. So, regenerative hull for that casualty or punishment rate. Lord Recruit rank we can ignore for now, I think, but we will not ignore the pirate growth rate, crew growth rate. Definitely want to regen for Noctilus. Sea Curse buffs his melee troops and, interestingly, his flyers. And his 1 unit of depth guard, which is not all that crazy here for us at the current time. I'm inclined to say another point in regenerative hull to max out the casualty or punishment rate, and we got 1 more point to apply. And that point will... maybe we do get Master of the Dreadfleet. Alright, Master of the Dreadfleet, which will give us enemy leadership reduction in the region, as well as Order Recruit rank +4. And then Invincible Fleet. Unbreakable for Noctilus, leadership for us, overzealous attack for Noctilus as well, and an additional use for Bloody Wave. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's the ability from Captain Roth's Moondial, maybe? No. Okay, well, I guess it'll probably show us what that is at some point. I hope. We'll see. Yes. Alrighty, Noctilus, there you go, buddy. You've been waiting for that. Next up, ooh, lots of extra movement range, and it is quite cheap, but it does cost 2, and I think we want to prioritize getting that Mourngull Haunter, so we'll get the ship's hold instead, and forego upgrading the rest. Though not so much for the gun ports. At 750, I think we can certainly pay it. And next up, the other guys also leveled up, assuming we can't build anything, which we cannot. Well, let's level you guys up. Okay, you've hit rank 10, though I don't think that there's anything crazy at rank 10, though we should want to probably try to get towards Pyromaniac. I think not at the cost of upgrading the entire army's range. At the very least, while it's a range-focused army, which will not always be the case. So, powder wet. Hey, that's what they say a lot of the time. Roll credits. Anyway, more replenished troops, or we could go for spamming Tide Call or Emergency Denizens of the Deep. We still don't have enough mana to cast it, really, though. I'm gonna say another point in Tide Call. Everything here will be gotten, but, well, we gotta focus on what we can use by virtue of the mana that we have. Alright, you guys are leveled. Airy is rank 8 now. Alright. Good use of for having him follow us around. And we can probably raise a ton of the zombie pirate deckhand mobs for him as well, which will be nice. Oh, that might mean we will want to eventually switch him to the melee lord. Is there not a melee lord? You. Fleet Warrant Admiral. Zombie pirate deckhands mobs. It does include that, and plus 10 melee defense is decent. Of course, this is better used for depth guard and other such units, but it's still pretty darn solid. And for now, of course, we need somebody to act as the fleet engineer, so that hasn't really changed. Anyway, get Van Hells, I guess. The second point in Drowned Dead might not actually be worth it. A single extra use, the miscast chance is also probably going to be reduced to, if not 0, very low eventually. Anyway, we still do have money remaining, which means I guess we're gonna pop that Curse of the Queen's Cannon. Though the casualty or punishment rate in the range will be wasted, it'll just mean getting that on field as fast as possible. Yes. Alrighty, but let's see. We can indeed get Bessie immediately, but we can do so next turn so that we save the 580 gold. Oh, I wish she wasn't so damn expensive, but we gotta. It's Queen Bess. Gotta get her on field, and oh, these poor pirates of the Red Hand Fleet, they're going to have a bad time when they have to deal with Bess. Frankly, if we could wipe out Wreck of the Badara here, and the Servants of Myrmidus, we could travel without Bess and then recruit her here to kill this guy and then wipe these guys out before heading north and starting to fight the ogres. That's a decent plan. Myrmidus, we have this thing which we don't need. Everything's going econ here. And here as well. Ooh, a couple more turns and we'll be able to collect the income here, which is also lovely, and we've certainly been wanting it. One more turn of infamy loss per turn, I think. For the controller, maybe a couple more turns. I mean, you know what, maybe we'll allow it to get maxed out and then we'll swap it out. Anyway, let's check what their new treasure piece. Yeah, it's too far, it's not happening. And yeah, that one is the one we'll keep. Double check one other thing. Anybody interesting? Did I already check it this turn? I think I might have checked it this turn already. But I'm paranoid about getting those good traits. And will probably remain so. Still want to get that dreaded marksman. Anyway, end turn. Alrighty, and it looks like Vinny decided not to attack us here. Even though the wreck of the Sapphire is undefended. Coward. Now this is your opportunity. Take your gold, take your glory at the tip of a sword. Well, you can before Queen Bess obliterates you. Noctilus, you're going for wreck of the Badara, or in fact, Ariane Stand is going for the wreck of the Badara, so we don't waste our movement range. Count Noctilus will reinforce. And then move away. We should be able to auto-resolve it, I hope, unless the auto-resolve is going to say once again that this is too difficult. It's a distinct possibility. Guess we're about to find out. We only got 6 more turns of Thirst for Death. Gotta make use of that massive campaign movement range bonus that it offers. Nope, decisive victory, low casualties, the cost of one of these zombie-powered deckhands bombs. Just do it, it's fine. These poor zombie-powered gunnery mobs. And scroll. Good. And why is it good? Because now we have 2 scrolls, which we can turn into something useful. Scroll of Shielding Area. Not for long. Lycos and Shielding fuse into Big Money, Helm of Discord. Big money indeed. Love it. That will go on Beatrice here. Actually, she has the Glittering Scales. You have the armor, but do you have the Rotting Promethean now? You know what? You can have the Helm of Discord, and we'll give the Armor of Silvered Steel to the other. Like so. I'm wondering whether the missile blockchain... No, I mean, the Helm of Discord is quite useful as well. Anyway, Servants of Myrmidus destroyed. They foolishly served Myrmidus instead of us. Or actually, they served Sigvald, but anyway. Noctilus, you can build some hand cannons. You are at 18 out of 20, and we do want Bessie, but... I gotta get over here. If we go into March Stance, we could get into Corpse Face Cliff. You know, let's do that. Move as far as we can, and what we also will want to do is... Campaign movement range, control +6 versus... cost for zombie innocent campaign movement range. It won't count on the same turn, but it is a fairly big province, so we'll actually start with Dredge the Sea. And frankly, the growth is actually quite helpful as well, so why not? A wreck of the Tariq will be first, because we want the spice as well, but actually the construction cost reduction in the province, and then here I guess we will go for another growth structure. Although maybe actually we'll want... No, go for the growth, because we're not collecting the income as yet. When we do, then we'll want all the other stuff. Noctilus, do you want to build anything? It's not expensive, so yeah, go for the cargo hold. We could upgrade the Sky Sail or the Mutineer's Rest. No need for this. We could finally get artillery up and running to get the Batwing Bombard. We have been wanting some arty, admittedly. And maybe that's the way to go. Yeah, fine. Batwing Bombard is basically the basic mortars of the Vampire Coast are tier 1. These things are more powerful. I did check them out briefly. I just wanted to make sure that the units of the mod weren't too overpowered, like Gunfire of the Abyss. And I've always felt like it's been a little bit odd that the carronades and the mortars, the artillery basically of the Gunpowder Coast. Gunpowder Coast is just as accurate, but anyway, the Vampire Coast are rather weak compared to a lot of other factions. In fact, most other factions, they have terrible artillery, so the fact that this mod adds a few nicer artillery pieces does seem appropriate, doesn't it? Well, it does to me. Anyway, what was I saying? Alright, bombards. Let's go for the bombards. Sorry, Sky Sail. We'll get you ASAP. We're growing pretty quickly right now, so at least in terms of our ships, so it's not so bad. Do we want a couple of zombie-powered gunnery mobs? If we're building the... If we're building artillery anyway, it probably won't matter nearly as much. I think we're okay. We can probably also transfer the zombie-powered gunnery mobs bombers to area as well. To some degree. Oh, actually, out of curiosity... This... Okay, it doesn't count the bomb guys. Damn, that's a shame. Ooh, hello. You have Forger, Smuggler, Poacher, Arsonist, Missile Strength for carronades. Let's see, this is all kind of meh. Bonus versus Large. I mean, I guess if you do have artillery in your army, then this will be the way to go, because at least it buffs it to some degree. Unless we use you as a raider, but that's better off on fire starter or whatever the other thing was that boosts rating instead of whatever this is. Anyway, wreck of the whatever, iron mine, please. And how are we doing here in terms of public order? Growing, still growing. Alright. Alright, and I believe we're good to go, unless, wait, I just want to double check what we have here. Anything new and interesting? Plunderer was the rating bonus one. Not fire starter. Intriguant, smuggler, plunderer, murderer. Another murderer, nice. And intriguant, yeah, okay, none of the stuff that we want. Not that I would get one on field immediately. Anyway, let's skip, and turn, and then head towards Vinnie Hodgesworth before going after the ogres. Lots to do this episode still. Alright, what do we got? Disciplinarian for Count Noctilus, so recruit an additional lord eventually. And they're just hanging around here. I think that this faction doesn't know what to do. They're probably too scared of attacking us directly. And we're still suffering attrition? Alright, I guess we're going by sea then. Nah, fine, just go by sea. Means we can't build stuff, but nah, it's no big deal. And then you can go by sea as well, though try to stay away from the enemy ogres unless they attack you, so go for Skull Island. And then, any other islands in here? Is this an island? No. So many of those that look like, you know, pick-upable islands, but they're not. Alright, and I take it... Yeah, okay, we'll have to wait for this, but shortly. Oh, look at that, you're building more stuff. Isn't that adorable? No, actually, it's not adorable because they might immediately go after Wreck of the Hammer Blaze. Maybe we'll want to raise a lord there just to defend in case. I mean, the game did ask us to raise another lord, so that's the possibility. Noctilus, what do we want here? Upkeep production in enemy territory. You know what, honestly, considering the distances, we probably won't be in enemy territory too much, so this probably isn't as useful as it normally might be for certain factions. Let us... I mean, I guess we can get the leadership for the single unit of depth guard. It's not that big of a deal. And the sacking and raiding isn't useful to us yet, though it will eventually be when we start, well, doing that. So I might as well max out his unique trait and our unique line. You have leveled up as well, and... Oh, right, because I couldn't decide on these. And it actually remains the same, but let's get Van Helsdowns Macabre, since you're going to be using a lot of these little weak zombie pirate deckhand mobs. Otherwise, I believe we're good to go to end the turn unless there's buildings to be built. Which there actually is. Alright, so, first of all, we start with you, Midnight Gambling Den, because its income from ports in this entire region will be port heavy. Speaking of ports, let's upgrade the Smuggler's Jetty, and, well, we do want both buried treasure chests, income from slave pits and meat markets, eh? What are meat markets again? Public order, pirate gallows, growth... It's something that can only be built in smaller territories. Alright, well, for now, none of this gives us money directly, right? Income from all buildings, all adjacent provinces, so it doesn't count this one, although I guess the adjacency bonus does apply. Yeah, fine, let's go for the plunder pile. We'll be upgrading the slave pits anyway, and let's upgrade you while we're at it. Alright, well, there goes all our cash. We gotta just keep enough for Bessie. And are either of you ready to start collecting income? Probably not yet. It'll be a lot easier once we can switch you to an actual territory that gains public order. Yeah, it's -1 right now, and then this is +2. Very slow growth if we do. And also not that much money, so probably not worth it. Keep it as it is. I could build a, we could build a cheap slave pit there, though. And probably not bother upgrading the lynching post. Alrighty, and what's the expense of this, by the way? 900? Yeah, not worth it. Not worth it. And turn. Right? Yes. Again, unhappy populace. We got one of these last episode. Game. Why? Why do you hate Noctilus? Unbelievable. But anyway, not a huge deal. We will adapt, overcome, etc. Wreck of the Sapphire is where we go. And Viola Jennings definitely has enough units to do stuff, so we'll have to watch out for that. Now, Morn goals. What do we have here? Devastating Flanker for characters. Lurker of the Shallows, meh. What about this? Enemy miscast base chance, weapon strength? Maybe weapon strength? You know, let's give them a couple turns. I want to see whether there's anything more interesting. Although, yeah, this Whispers of Wrath will be good in a Mourngul Haunter and just generally Mourngul heavy army. One of the Mournguls helping out, although it's only for characters, so it's not a huge deal, admittedly. Anyway, what I would like to do now is get Queen Bess up and running. I think Regiments of Renown count as raised dead, so we probably could have reduced it by... yeah, but whatever, it's not a big deal. I want Queen Bess on field immediately. And you move into reinforce via the water. Frankly, you probably didn't have to march stance. Just want to leech a little bit of XP. Oh, damn, bloated corpses. That's going to be annoying. And yeah, you can still move quite far. You. At war with nobody. Sorry, Red Hand, you really... this faction didn't know what to do. Declare war. And let's see Queen Bess obliterate them. Alrighty, we're not going to auto-resolve this because it's a debut battle for a beautiful artillery piece. Alrighty, short and sweet, meet your doom, the appropriate thing for a Noctilus to say as Bessie is on the field, and the artillery piece is so frickin' nasty that we can certainly and pretty much always expect it to rack up an insane kill count. Even when she misses, she doesn't miss because like a Dreadquake, the spread on the sort of separating cluster munitions or whatever that they use she uses allows her to clip units. Let's see another hit, and there we go. Direct miss, but then the secondary explosions do kill a bunch of units. Beautiful, and the enemy is zombies, so they're slow, so they're going to be traveling a long time while Bess continues to fire. Oh, wow. That one poor zombie in particular, I guess, or I guess. Anyway, I'm going to speed this up a little bit as the enemy approaches. It's going to drop a Wraith Storm upon them, and another shot from Messin. Ooh, that looks like a decent hit to the back of the enemy line, but clipping both some zombies as well as some doggos. I also wager that the closer the enemy gets, the more difficult of a time that they're going to have actually dodging Bess's shots. The other critical thing here, though, is the enemy bloated corpses, which the AI always likes to flank with, so we'll send our own units to deal with them. Noctilus moves in and forces the other two of the three bloated corpses to explode upon him. Slanesh giggle, and not in a good way, and we'll try to find the other one, which is currently approaching on the right flank as well. And of course, Bessie keeps firing, and the enemy does look like they're starting to close the distance, but that just means closer to our gun line as well. And if the enemy should stop to fire back at us, that'll just mean units that are not dodging Bessie's fire. Alright, and it looks like the enemy fast movers their vanguard are going to lead the charge. Bats and dogs alike, very reminiscent of a vampire counts rather than a coast army. And we'll drop a few of those bats from the sky, but it looks like they will manage to close the distance and herald the arrival of the doggos, which jump on in as well. Alright, we'll see if our gunnery weight can hold them back. It looks like the bats will be melting away very quickly, and the Helm of Discord will help out and make sure that these guys have effectively no melee defense to speak of. Not that the scurvy dogs really have any melee defense anyway. Ooh, a big old shot from Bessie heavily damages 2 units, essentially destroying one and forcing it to crumble. While Noctilus runs through the enemy army and heads directly towards the enemy lord. Alright, Zufbar 42 pounders going through the enemy line, and Noctilus has found the enemy lord and begun their duel. Though it looks like the enemy lord does get hit with a few gunshots ourselves. Time for our army to move. Our pistoliers, led by our Necrofex Colossus, are going to join the fray, though it looks like all of the enemy units that can are targeting the Colossus. But that should hardly be surprising. Our pirate gunnery mob bombers did manage to loop around through the forest and are obliterating a unit of enemy gunnery mobs here by chucking their bombs at them. Perfect target for the bombers, in fact, because there's no armor on those guys. Although I suppose their formation is a little bit loose, and if it wasn't as loose, we'd be able to do more damage faster. Not that it's bad. By the looks of it, that's just about it for the enemy army. They are getting absolutely trounced. Their ace in the hole, I suppose, was their 3 units of bloated corpses. If they had managed to actually properly close with those, they might have been able to destroy several units, but alas, without them, their army was just not strong enough. And there we go. With that, the last of the enemy units melt away, and the battle is ours. All right, lovely. Alright, very, very nice. 43k damage and 285 kills for Queen Bess's debut, though admittedly the AI did dodge a fair few of her shots, at least at the start of the battle. 1600 gold as reward, and we'll certainly take that over the a relatively small amount of replenishment. Most of the damage was done to the Necrofex, though, as, well, pretty much the entire enemy army, every single range unit they had, kept wanting to target it. Not surprising, but somewhat annoying. Anyway, Noctilus, you're going to encamp and you're going to proceed as close to Viola Jennings as you can, and Ariane Stan, you're going to follow real quick. Then, let's see what we got. Ooh, yes. And the Altars of the Abyss are not limited in number, which is great because, yeah, we really want those corpse cards. It's a big old difference. We're going to build them, but since they take 2 turns, we'll build them afterwards. I would rather, for now, let's see what we got here. All right, so 500 for the Sky Sail. I'm going to say yes to the Sky Sail. And yes to the Carronades for the Batwing Bombards. Oh, that's going to be nasty in combination with the Queen Bess. So the Batwing Bombard is a mod unit that essentially fires explosive bats instead of ammunition, and has the ability to use up, I believe, half of its ammunition to summon a single unit of fell bats with explosives. So it's quite a neat unit, and a lot of area of effect damage between it and the Queen Bess, I'd wager. Now, of course, they will not probably stay in Noctilus' army, though I'll think about the Queen Bess, but generally speaking, I think I want him to be Necrofex and Depth Guard heavy, not necessarily artillery. And though we shall see. There's a lot of good stuff in here, but we gotta be careful because our money is basically non-existent right now, and we gotta get the econ flow before anything else. But we do want to get the Sky Sail. And the rest, I think, is fine as it is. Also, Noctilus, you did not level up, so we'll wait until we take Viola Jennings out. What's the likelihood that she attacks us here? We got 8 units, and defending, we got less. And then we did have a mission to summon another Lord, and I did want another Murderer, but it would probably have to be a Lure Vampires Murderer, so... just chance it. A moment, so that's Vampire Fleet Admirals. Let me just take a quick look at Vampire Fleet Captains. So they have the same lures as we do. So the question is there any reason to, let me just see here, get one or the other? So you, I take it, do not have anything that increases your casting capabilities, but you do have a more advanced version of the lore, I assume. Yeah, 2 points rather than 3. And of course, you are a melee variant as opposed to a range variant of the Lords. Let's take a quick look at the Vampire Fleet Captain, who presumably also... So resistance, weapon strength for large units. Oh, well, that's nice. And melee defense for deckhand mobs, so we'll need several of those in an army heavy with those, and again, nothing with casting, and you have the 3 points rather than the 2, which again, does make sense. So really there isn't any crazy reason, so we could just do, for example, a Vampire Fleet Admiral of the Deep and a Murderer, and then it'll be easier to get a Vampire Fleet Captain, because they're not anything crazy. How much do you guys cost per turn? Oh, wow. 2,000 gold and 400 per turn? It's a bit steep, I think, at least for now. I think we'll chance these guys not attacking us. And if they do, well, then sucks to be me, I guess. Let's also, while we're at it, have a tiny bit of money, build the slave pits here, because they need to be everywhere. Not gonna upgrade the swag sacks. Yeah, okay. And we could upgrade some stuff here. 1,800, that's all of our cash. I think, or at least I fear, that we need to start collecting money. 12, 2, it's slow growth, but it is what it is. And then you -1, okay, maybe not you, at least not until you're a little bit better. In fact, switch now to share the spoils. And then next turn start collecting the income. At the cost of infamy, but what are you gonna do? At least this one we'll be able to switch off of it in a couple of turns. Skip, and check diplomacy, which we haven't checked in a while, though we haven't met a lot of factions, and the ones we have met are mostly our enemies, and by virtue of their proximity to us, so it is what it is. End turn.
I cannot be thwarted.
Alrighty, Billy the Stasher, here we go. Looks like these guys didn't run, but Red Hand, which I take it as their lord or their faction leader, got switched in. Noctilus, actually, I just want to double check the Morngul Hunters for a sec. It's the same ones, I take it. Yeah, I don't think they've changed. Alright, that's fine. That's fine. Noctilus, you're gonna move on in, and let's see if they run. They will not run. Pyrrhic victory, they're willing to fight by the looks of it. I do wonder whether they'd be willing to sally out, or whether we take this as a siege battle. We could bombard them with the best, or we could see if they're willing to fight on field. It would be a waste of a turn, I suppose, but I'd much rather the field battle than the siege battle, because it would be just, 5 minutes of bombarding them with the best and then obliterating them right after. How are you guys doing? Just to check. Still haven't lost a single territory to Scrag, even though you're still at war. Interesting. I wonder if they're exchanging blows evenly or not. Ooh, I do like that these guys have a full stack here, and that should be pretty fun. Anyway, while we're here, let us upgrade what we can. 1,200 to double the income from the meat market, which is nice, but it is a fair amount. Here, we should upgrade these, but they're also quite expensive. And then what about here? You've switched to control, which means you can start collecting income as well, and then I guess you're going to swap into Eastern Bazaar. I'm actually kind of tempted to lose the tree and noose just to replace it with another meat market. Although I suppose if we upgrade this, it'll be changed, but we really need the extra cash. Well, let's upgrade the tier 1s first. Try to get those ports up and running as fast as possible, because they will be making tons of cash for us eventually. In fact, just the ports of this area alone will be giving us plenty of money. Just need to get the money to upgrade them all. Anyway, I say we give them a chance to sally out. Why not? Maybe they will, maybe they'll take it. And if they don't, we'll just attack them next turn. You know what we could do? We could also build a ram and a tower. Send a unit of depth guard up there. They can clear the walls right quick, I imagine. Skip. And end the turn. Alright then, Red Hand, a coward to the end. Darkness Daughters, Infamy plus 100, Free Book of Assure. Carry out a successful assassination against disciples of the Maw, eh? Are these Darkness Daughters? Oh, we don't care about their relations with them. But we do care about the infamy, so there is that. We'll try that assassination with somebody, though as to whether we can make it happen remains to be seen. For now, though, we've got to work our way through this particular enemy. Well, let's see what we got here. Raiding and sacking isn't going to be useful to us at the current time. As Sea Curse, I guess we could buff up the depth guard. Yeah, why not? And buff them up. We're gonna be using plenty of them after all, and frankly, we'll probably go through a lot of turns to try to tech up as soon as we've and got the entire place while we reeve up and down the coastline without necessarily capturing too much territory. I feel like that'll be more appropriate for a Noctilus playthrough. Anyway, you can have powder wet. More missile strength for the entire army. And then you... Huh? Wait. Gunnery weight. Okay, yeah, you're the other one. Shark bait. Gotta try to get that utility built. And then lastly, you, Beatrice Holloway. Well, we do got 2 points in Tide Call. Let's get Fog of the Deep. Well, you know, let's get the 1 point in Denizens of the Deep. I don't see us using our limited mana on it, but you never know. For now, oh, you coward. Like I said, coward to the end. Maybe I should have just had Ariane stand and deal with it. Still a close victory, really. Well, alright, fine. We're gonna play this because I don't trust what the auto-resolve will do to our army, so why not? A little short siege.
Count Noctilus can rule the great ocean and the waters beyond.
Ooh, looks like we got some nice lighting in this one. A bit of a shame that the enemy lord was a coward, but I don't think it matters either way, as the number of units in the enemy settlement will just be more targets for Bessie to obliterate. Anyway, we're gonna start the battle off, and ooh, direct hit to the enemy tower with Bess, and the secondary munitions will hit the bombers behind the enemy line, and hits from Bess exploding on top of the enemy battlements also have little secondary explosions below as well. Fantastic. A second tower is there, but it won't be for too much longer, as between Bess hitting for about 1,000 per hit, and then the massive damage from our Necrofex Colossus, which is accurate enough to hit all 3 shots into the enemy tower, will bring said tower down rather quickly. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. We'll break through the gate with our Necrofex, who fires directly upon it, while Bessie continues to annoy the enemy army inside the enemy settlement. They're just milling around out there or down there, but well, they can't escape all that fire. And see another nice shot into this. Wrath of Jar. Oh, right, Wrath of Jar would be the Chaos Dwarfs. Zufbar 42 pounders. Nice cannon fire through the enemy blobs as Bessie and explosion on that house there. And that's the Norse Roar, unless I'm mistaken, ability. The second gun ability that we have now that we have the portholes, I believe. Tied to Noctilus's ship. Definitely got to try to get those legendary admirals on field as well as fast as possible, ideally, so that they can start leveling up and building their own ships. At least when we can afford it, because money is still a little bit tight, but hey, it's only the second episode. That will change rather rapidly, I'd wager. Anyway, Bess continues to fire away at the enemy units, and there is absolutely nothing they can do. They have no towers, and they have no range units, no artillery that can fire back at us, and all they can do is lose thousands upon thousands of zombies to artillery fire. Or probably hundreds. They probably don't have enough units to actually, you know, beat thousands of them. But still good. And it's going to be a long time before I tire of watching Bess obliterate enemies. However, that doesn't mean we can't watch our melee troops enter the settlement as well. Depth Guard will lead the way through the enemy gate and engage with a zombie pirate deckhand mob with polearms. And I do believe Noctilus should be in here as well with his vampire fleet captain. Alright, they're down there. Unfortunately, the wall isn't making it easy to zoom in down here, but all good. And here comes our Necrofex Colossus as well. Kind of surprising it managed to fit through that gate, to be perfectly frank. I think the mast is actually higher, or the crow's nest is actually higher than the tip of the portcullis. But all good. Ooh, I love those point-blank shots. Necrofex Colossi are just so fun to watch. And so are Depth Guard. And so is every single vampire unit. I'm not biased, you're biased. Anyway, looks like we have pretty much cleared the way around the gate already, as the enemy is starting to run out of melee troops, and their ranged troops have been by and large cleared by Bess. There are a couple more remaining, but she will simply switch fire to them. Our vampire fleet captain was keeping the enemy fleet captain busy until Noctilus comes in with a steel chair, or just with his polearm, and knocks the enemy fleet captain aside. And these two should have no problem. I'm sure Noctilus can spin to win by himself, and we gotta enjoy his animations for a little bit longer, because soon enough he'll be on a Necrofex and we won't be seeing those spin to wins anymore, as his Necrofex will be doing all the work. I do like watching Noctilus fight, though. He feels like he moves slow enough. You know what I mean? Like, he feels like a heavily armored unit. His attacks have weight. The same can't be said for every animation in the game, but I do like his. Alrighty, though I might like his, the enemy lord probably does not. She's down to below half HP, and lost control of the camera there for a second. How are we doing otherwise? There's a zombie pirate gunnery mob bomber unit milling around, probably looking to chuck a few bombs the way of our depth guard, and the depth guard will hit or get hit. But the leading units will charge forth together with the Necrofex, who will crush a ton of those bombers, and then the Depth Guard will cut the rest apart. Alrighty, and by the looks of it, with that, the battle is pretty much ours. The bounce power shifts to about 95% in our favor, if not 98%, just a sliver of balance of power remaining in the enemy's favor. And I think the only unit that's really still around is that rotting Promethean unit, which we just need to engage and destroy to complete the fight. Alright, in fact, let's speed it up as we move towards them. Beth's gonna get a couple more shots in, and there we go. We wipe out the last unit of handgunners before closing in with the defensive Krabby Boys. And looks like we'll still have to work our way through them, but these things are incredibly tanky, and it's not really surprising that we still have to destroy them. That's alright though. The regular Rotting Promethean gunnery mobs, or regular Rotting Prometheans, unlike the Rotting Promethean gunnery mobs, are very tanky, but do not do a lot of damage without those hand cannon units up on top of them. So we're not really afraid of them dishing out any significant damage to our depth guard, and we can just slowly work our way through them with our elites. And I do mean pretty much with just our elites, because there was no need to actually bother getting our zombies into this particular fight, as the enemy just didn't have the troops to deal with. Anyway, the last of the Krabby Boys disintegrate, and the battle decisively is ours. Alright, there we go, and that's why I wanted the field battle, regardless of whether the enemy armies, the second army under Red Hand was here or not. Queen Bess would have obliterated them either way. She's powerful enough to make any siege pretty much trivial, so, yeah. Anyway, let us, 203 kills, 17k damage, pretty solid on the depth guard as well. Good job to them. Anyway, we will occupy the place. As much as I'd love to sack it or raise it or whatnot, a free gambler's armor, we'll take it. And the province is secured as well, which gives us that Black Pearl False Eye. I wonder, wait, Noctilus would have to lose the Talisman of Preservation to get that, though. Ouch. And when he is on his... Well, you know what? I mean, for now, temporarily, we'll use the Black Pearl False Eye to get the additional post-battle loot, but then obviously as soon as we switch to the Necrofex Colossus, he's going to be so much more vulnerable to damage that we'll have to deal with it, so yeah, we'll switch back. In the meantime, you two just sit there while Noctilus takes the opportunity to recruit some stuff, which we can't really afford, but they're going to do so anyway. And the recruitment is going to be Specifically, the 2 Batwing Bombards and then 2 Altars of the Abyss, meaning we need to move 3 units out of the picture here. Why is it 4? Because we'll want space for 4 plus the Morngul Haunter. Although I guess technically we don't need the 2 Gunnery Whites, but we will eventually, so maybe. Okay, wait, let me just see those Morngul Haunters again. I mean, since we're recruiting for 2 turns, we could give them one more chance to get a better one. I feel like there are better ones with better traits. I could be wrong, but I feel like there are. Anyway, take the 2 bombs. That gives us space for 3. We need 4 or 5, so lose a handgun and then 1 gunnery mob? Yeah, I guess. Something like that. Something like that. Alright, and start recruiting. It's gonna take 2 turns anyway, so we will go for 2 Batwing Bombards. And then 2 Altars of the Abyss. I suppose what we could do is... Oh wait, no, it's Noctilus recruiting, so never mind. I was gonna say we could have Ariane stand recruited, but that's not actually the case. The other stuff that we may want to get, let's see, Growth for Province Park, Recruitment Capacity, not needed right now, Attrition Suffered, and Vampire Corruption. Okay, those are actually kind of useless, so we don't need them. I guess we either save up for the Sea Cabin or the Barb Launcher, both of which are quite nice. A bit of a shame that the Barb Launcher gives us all of this range bonus, but not really any melee bonus. Which is generally what we'd like in here. But all good. All good. Alright, keep that as it is. Let's see if we can get any more money flowing via me, any means here. You're fine as you are. You, why do you have this? I think this is not needed. Let us switch you immediately to, I guess, Public Order. This place will switch out of it in 2 turns unless I'm mistaken. We will forego building this, but we can, I guess, upgrade the meat market for the additional cash. Alright, and I believe that's all we got right now. And just gotta keep the cash coming. Alright, building upgrade and... Oh, this guy might besiege us. He might actually go for the Wreck of the Hammer Blaze now. Can you reach the Wreck of the Hammer Blaze just at it? Oh, we transferred unit. No, we can't. Well, I guess we'll see. And if he takes it, we'll just attack him and retake it, because he'll be stuck, so... I'd rather not spend them. Oh, we don't even have money to spend anyway. Let's end turn. Alright, well, Red Hand didn't land, and wait, if we... Can we reinforce? I think we can, so we could just have you attack, right? Right. Alright, beautiful. Alright, we're not gonna bother fighting that, that's too weak. We got a lot of ogres to deal with, so we'll just ignore this. Free Banner of Swiftness, that's actually not bad. Might actually put it on Noctilus for when he's on his big boy. Ransom captives, please. And area, you got your mount as well, which will make you a lot tankier, even if the animations are just terrible. Anyway, Red Hand Fleet. A Banner of Swiftness will give to Noctilus. There's your Rotting Promethean, another great horde, which we'll keep an eye on. And we have Sea Curse. I don't think we care about the enemy vigor loss reduction. I mean, we do, but it's just not super necessary right now. I think it's time to move towards Pit of Shades, or possibly, well, can't really upgrade this stuff yet. Or at the very least, there isn't too much point to it, so we can ignore it. Monkey Jacket, sir. And we'll get Lucky Charm as well for, you know what, I'm gonna forget, so let's get Lucky Charm right now. And there we go. 2 turns until another one of these units. Can't wait to see those Altars of the Abyss. And let's check those Morngul Hunters. What do we got here? Infamous Monstrosity. Enemy leadership reduction, sort of anti-heroes? You know what? I'll take it. Is that better than weapon strength plus 25%? Well, we do have a little bit of enemy leadership reduction on Count Noctilus anyway, so might as well stack it a little bit, right? It's not much, but it's, yeah, let's do it. Why not? Oh, we still want the Morngul Haunter. They're just too fun. I love it. Get you on field, sir. You stick around. You'll get your own army eventually as we rack up additional cash. We can build up the Barb Launcher essentially for free if we want to. But I think we have to prioritize the Mutineers' rest and get the additional points there. We could also just spam boarding crew for this army as well, for the secondary army. Anyway, let's see what we got in terms of money making. Rocky Isle, you're going to want the plunder pile. Or wait, no, you're gonna want the scurvy dog pits because you've got a lot of ports in this territory. This is nearly maxed out, so I think we can switch from share the spoils now into either growth or maybe bat swarms for the construction time reduction. Growth would be swell as well, but we don't have the money to capitalize on it anyway, so I think I'd rather have that. Let's upgrade the ports, 2.4 and 2.4, and that's all the money we got for now. Recruitment cost does not help us, and treasure map mission, and we do want to do that, and ooh. Plus 500 for every building owned from the buried treasure chain, so we do want to start building those as well. We don't have a lot of them as yet. That's these ones? No. That's in main settlements. Ooh. So we got one here, which makes it not worth it, or at least not yet. But that thing will give us a ton of money later on, so we'll want to be spamming it later. Anyway, nothing else to do this turn, because we don't have the money and we don't have the moves, so skip and end.
The galleon's graveyard gives you great strength, but raw power has no loyalty. You should ensure that no other can find their way to this ultimate well of power.
Well, well, well of power. Wellity, wellity, wellity. We've got our quest battle available. I don't remember this one at all, but dang, that's a lot of Imperials. Is it enough Imperials to make our Batwing Bombards and Queen Bess fearful? That I don't believe. So, what we are going to do is, we are going to pop Jimbo Butler, Jimbo Scavenge, and then you are going to leave the settlement. We are then going to... It's gonna bother me. Alright, you leave the army. Leave the army, and then get back in the army. Alright, we're gonna fight the quest battle. I think we can pull it off. I guess we're about to find out. Let's level everybody up before we do, however. Ooh, wait. Helm of Discord should be on the Morngul Haunter. Yes. Where are you, Morngul Haunter? Helm of Discord on you. Then, that'll allow us to move the Talayan Pavis to you. Potion of Foolhardiness can go on the Morngul Haunter for the bonus charge, I guess. And the Talisman of Preservation... Well, you're not on the thing yet, so let's put it on the Morngul Haunter for now, because we're going to send it out to do stuff. Nothing else other than the Banner of Swiftness, which we do still want. Alright, and then levels. So, level 1, you have Powder Wet, so let's go for Ammunition or Missile Strength. I'm gonna say start with Missile Strength. Alpha Strike is probably the better rather than trying to outlast the enemy, and then Utility Belt for the cooldowns on the bomb throwing. You have Denizens of the Deep now. Let's get the first point in Fog of the Damned, as it could come in very handy here if we're looking like we're about to get overrun. Otherwise, not much else to say. I just wanted to check whether we could raise an Altar of the Abyss, and I would have laughed if that was the case. I'm excited to try these guys out, and this will also unlock the Bullion of Bogenhofen, or whatever the thing is called. Gallows Giant, right? Yes, good. Good. Alright, what else do we have here, just to double check, before we jump on in? This one's kind of far as well. Is it so far that we can't send a hero there? I mean, this is a long, long way to travel. We might have a, you know, I'll check. There is possibility that we do have a sea lane up there. Anyway, let's give this a read and let's jump on in. Captain Roth's Moondial. Captain Roth, leader of the Grand Alliance, was known for being Noctilus's one-time arch-rival after one of Noctilus's midnight raids led to the demise of Roth's entire family. This led the anguished captain to lead a fleet directly to Galleon's graveyard, a navigational feat only made possible with his magical Moondial. Neither Noctilus or Roth were defeated outright in the immense sea battle that followed, but both suffered extensive casualties. The horrors Roth's crew witnessed there pushed many to desert following the battle. During the confusion, his Moondial was opportunistically stolen, ensuring that the graveyard could never easily be found again. Until now. Alright, let's see what we're facing off against. Hopefully there's no, like, demigriffs that come in as reinforcements, because that will be iffy. Teleport. Let's see what we got here. Okay, it doesn't say valiant defeat casualties high. That is what I like to see, though, not gonna lie. You already have Strider, so you don't need it. Let's, you know what, let's put it on our Necrofex until Noctilus has a Necrofex mount of his own. And see if we can do this. Should be interesting, if nothing else. The map that came into Count Noctilus's possession is no trap. It has led him to an uncharted island in the Great Ocean where the treasure chest containing Captain Roth's moondial is located. As he approaches the island, however, it appears his map is not the only one in existence. A large army of treasure-hunting soldiers of fortune has somehow found its way there ahead of him and pitched camp at the top of a hill.
The peons of the Empire dare lay their hands on the chest I seek. These cattle are ignorant of what they now possess, but they will not live long enough to find out. Roth's moondial cannot elude me any longer. It is only a matter of time before another rival uses it to gain access to the galleon's graveyard. Only I, Count Noctilus, am worthy of the Maelstrom's boundless power. Only I can rule the Great Ocean and the waters beyond. The waters beyond.
Alrighty, here we go. I certainly wasn't expecting to do the quest battle this episode, but, well, you know what? I think it'll be pretty darn fun, and I just can't say no. New units, Batwing Bombards, who have bat wings and fire bats as well, or cages of bats. At least they look like cages for now, but then eventually, when it comes time for the ammunition to explode, there we go, it'll separate, releasing a bunch of bats with bombs upon them. A really cool modded unit. I really like it. And Death Shriek rocket type of deal. Anyway, the bats with explosions will come down together with the fire from Queen Bess, and that should be a pretty devastating bit of artillery to the enemy, especially since the enemy has concentrated those units of Hellstorm rocket batteries up on the hill. Nice to have our own answer to enemy Hellstorm rocket batteries, especially as, well, the Vampire Coast is well known for using Imperial technology for their own artillery pieces. Queen Bess, for example, is Imperial tech and taken off a siege ship, so there is that. Anyway, love all the explosions with all of our artillery working together, and by the looks of it, the enemy Hellstorm rockets have lost about half of their HP, though it's taken a fair few volleys to deal this much damage, so we can see that the damage isn't insane. Like, it didn't instantly wipe them out. That was 2 or 3 volleys, and these guys are still only at half HP. If it was a Dreadquake, it would have only taken 1 direct hit, perhaps, and no. I do like the carpet bombing. I was about to say carpet bombing combined with bats, like bat bombing, but that didn't really make sense. So yeah, it just looked cool. Anyway, the Hellstorms are just about out, and they will not be supporting the enemy. I think this quest was expecting us to charge the enemy, but I'm thinking we can make them charge us instead with the sheer amount of firepower we now have, even with only these 2. And of course, we do have the other artillery piece that we still have to try out. I forgot what they're called. The Abyss cannons? I don't know. We'll get that modded unit on field as well, ASAP. And speaking of getting modded units on field, we have our corpse carts, a rotting Promethean holding an altar of the Abyss, which is a pretty neat looking unit. I like it. I like it, as well as the armor that it provides with that lovely foam-crusted brine aura. We can certainly get a lot of good use out of that flame resistance, bumping us up to 45, compensating for potential weakness, and then the armor and vigor loss reduction are nice as well. They won't heal us out of water, but I think they might be... They might be too strong if they did, because then they'd be better than corpse carts, and in this way they're about even, which I appreciate. And it certainly doesn't make sense that in vanilla that the Vampire Coast doesn't have a sort of equivalent. the fact that they have essentially no support creatures whatsoever, or support units whatsoever, is a little bit odd. Anyway, the bombardment continues, though as we can see at their max range, the bombards do have their bats separate quite a lot, which means they can't quite do a crazy amount of damage at this distance. Unlike Bess, which can do massive amounts of damage at any distance. Nonetheless, the enemy has a long way to travel under all this bombardment. Bats or Bess. And I gotta say, I am really enjoying watching this artillery piece fire. Something very satisfying about it. And I just gotta say, if any modders are watching this, any modders at all, I'm so thankful for all you guys. You give us so much, free stuff to enjoy. Make games that would otherwise sort of fade away, last for years and years longer. It's great. Keeping favorite titles alive. Not that I wouldn't still be playing Total Warhammer even without the mods, because I just love the game so much, but the mods certainly help a lot. And, ooh, we got some single shot, shots moving in from our bat bombards. I was curious if we could get some of the single shots moving into the enemy Empire Knights to see how much damage they do. I assume, though I haven't tested it, that the single shots are meant for anti-large sort of purposes, or something. I'm just assuming that if these things are supposed to be Death Shrieker analogs, then it's the separate shot for blobs, and then the single shot for targeting individuals. Though as to whether that's actually the case remains to be seen. Anyway, very nice hit from the Necrofex Colossus, and it does look like the enemy is very much annoyed and very much moving towards us now. We'll see how effective then. Ooh, a full volley from a single unit of handgunners into our Necrofex, and oh wow, are they buffed up? That was one volley. One volley takes half of the HP of the Necrofex. I mean, definitely taste of your own medicine, but ouch. Missile strength 33 plus shield breaker, I guess. Quest battle is, oh, okay, yeah, so the quest battle is giving them 1.5 times as much damage as they normally have, but still, that is a heavy amount of damage to take from one single volley from a handgunner. Definitely have to be careful. Anyway, the enemies have arrived over on the right flank. We have sent our unit, our newly acquired Mourngul Haunter, to intercept them. I love Mourngulls and I love Mourngul Haunters, and this guy's looking like he's going to have some fun ripping through these knights, and we're even going to send a Krabby Boy to help him out and give him a little bit of extra armor as well. Combine that with the 50% physical resistance and 80 armor. It's pretty darn solid, and those knights have no chance. Whether it be against the melee unit or whether it be in terms of getting gunned down by all of our handgunners / zombie pirate gunnery mobs. More bat bombards firing away. Ooh, at close range as well. I was interested to see how they would perform at close, and it looks like they're pretty darn accurate when they're close by. I mean, they are essentially mortars, so that does make sense. I'm gonna emergency summon some denizens of the deep rotting Prometheans as the enemy is finally starting to close the distance with some of our handgunners. And it looks like we stop them just in time and just keep on dropping bats upon them. We've got to be careful about dropping bats upon us ourselves as well. Oh, lovely. Perfect little defense from our denizens of the deep. And it looks like the battle is rapidly turning in our favor. Couple more volleys into whatever other enemy units were around, but it looks like the enemy has failed to really breach our lines in any way. We are going to sort of maintain unit cohesion around just in case more enemy units arrive, but I'm not sure that they will. I feel like if they were going to, they would have arrived on the field by now. I think the most damage we took was a unit of grenadiers, a grenade launcher outriders, that hit our right flank, which took about half HP off one of the units of zombie pirate gunnery mobs. Actually more. about 60% of their HP, which was pretty solid, but certainly not enough. The Outriders are out and only the Great Swords and the enemy lords remain, but it looks like army losses are sufficient to just see them scurry away and abandon the battle. There we go. The artillery, I think, gets the MVP for that one, though the units defending the artillery certainly played a big role in not allowing the enemy's 4 units of cav and their pile of melee units to reach them, and thus allow them to do the damage. Love it. Alright, there we are. A pretty darn fun quest battle, though I was very wary of getting random reinforcements attacking us from the sides or from the rear or whatever, which ended up not happening. I also remember that that particular quest map, at the very least, was reused in the Blood Dragons campaign, so a little bit of PTSD from it, because obviously the quest battles are a lot nastier in that particular mod. And do check out the mod and that campaign if you're interested, because it's super high quality work from the modders there. Plus Abarash, that's my favorite character in all of Warhammer, and just a generally very fun mod. Anyway, for this, I really enjoyed the Altars of the Abyss. Obviously they do no damage, but I like the way that this mod strikes a balance for them, i.e. the Altars of the Abyss are very solid. They are faster than corpse carts, and they are more armored and heavily defended due to being on a rotting Promethean, but they are obviously inferior in the sense that they don't heal unless they're in water, so a good balance. Good job to the modder with that as well. Like to the Batwing Bombards, they do plenty of damage and so surely look like they outdamage the regular mortars, though of course at greater cost. Wasn't super impressed with the single shot. They appeared to be similar to Death Shriekers, but we'll try the single shot against some single entities in other battles and experiment with them a little bit more as opposed to the split shot. Anyway, we got a decent amount of reward in terms of money, and we'll obviously take that in addition to the Moon Dial. And Sartosan map right. I wonder if Lords can have that. And there's the Captain Roth Moon Dial as well. Campaign movement range plus 50%. Oh yeah. That alone is just fantastic. A decent amounts of infamy, and the Gallows Giant unlocked. Casualty or punishment rate. And oh, the bonus control is actually decent right now, though I maybe should have saved it until we had conquered all of this, but well, it'll allow us to switch off of that infamy loss rather quickly, so not a horrible thing, I suppose. Out of curiosity, Noctilus, can you use this ancillary? Yes. So take the Sartosan map right for yourself, because I'm pretty sure it only works if the Lord actually carries it. You have the Moon Dial, and we'll give the Potion of Toughness, I suppose, to... I'm going to say the Vampire Fleet Captain for now. Frankly, it's probably going to go to our second Lord, but not immediately. And you're now at level 16, which is, again, solid. Let's get you that Monkey Jacket, and get you prepared for your own Necrofex. And speaking of Necrofexes... and we can get the Gallows Giant. I do love that thing. It's got that flamethrower instead of the standard weapon, which is just lovely. Anyway, we'll want to go over here to start fighting the Ogres of Sharktooth, who are currently at war with Golden Stewards. Oh! You're telling me there's another little faction in here? Huh. A Tzeentchian faction, but where are they exactly? What the heck? I didn't see any territory that could possibly belong to them. Maybe it's one of these places? Wreck of the Calendrian. No, it's part of this. Huh. Scholar's Gate, Sinister Henge, Scholar's Gate, Sinister... what the heck? Where are they? Interesting. Tzeentchian shenanigans. I don't like it. Or maybe I do, who knows? Anyway, we'll ignore that for now, I guess. Noctilus. We go pretty far in march stance. Just want to double check whether we need to build stuff right now. We're okay. We could probably save up until the next tier of sea cabin. We should do that. Let's build something here while we're at it as well. Let's upgrade you. Dead Pirate's Hamlet. Growth is still relatively okay, and with the control fixed, we can essentially switch you to growth, and we can switch you to growth as well. Both of you will max out your control. Let's also max out the Rick of the Tariq, and let's also build the plunder pile. Plunder pile or port thing. Now let's go with the port thing. It'll enable us to build more stuff faster, which is always nice. Let's upgrade the meat market. While we do have a little bit of cash remaining, let's also upgrade the swag sacks. We can... Oh, we're still getting some use out of the additional growth. Let's upgrade the Dead Pirates Hamlet, and then what else do we need to build here? So, this gives us movement range, meh. More income from ports, so Midnight Gambling Den, I guess, is the way to go rather than the growth. And I guess rather than the hidden fences? Hidden fences would be nice as well because of the adjacency bonus. I'm actually not sure what's better. Assuming that the adjacency bonus works, these territories appear to be adjacent to one province each, so each one of them plus 8% to all buildings and all in both adjacent provinces. That might actually be generally stronger than the straight up income from ports. This does offer us bonus control, though, and a little bit of other generation. I'm not sure. I could experiment with a few of the other provinces. Oh, I do notice that the hidden fences are cheaper, though. You know, we need to check. We need to check if the adjacency actually works in these places as to whether... Oh, there's an island here. Let's pick that up. Let's see this. So currently, we are at plus 78%. We will build one of these hidden fences. Like so. And we'll see if the plus 78% gets upgraded to anything else, which... Okay, wait. Plus 78 will become plus 83. And then with this, it should be plus 85 rather than 83. So somebody please remember that if I forget, because I very well might. Anyway, Noctilus, I guess you're going to the Remnants of Battle here. Let's go there then. And I guess Ari and Stan is going to follow. And can you... Oh, you can't quite reach to the wreck of the Unsinkable LS. And you can, actually. Yeah, go figure. Alright, go in there. It'll cost us a little bit less to have you in a settlement. And just a teensy bit less, but every little bit counts. Alright, and that sounds like an unturned to me. Now, we do have gunnery crews up and running, but I think we're going to switch briefly to these two. And it's not like we're super relying on having these other things activated right now, so I think we're okay. For now. We'll see. And skip, and turn. I want to fight those ogres. Alright, another enemy. Be at war with Pirates of Sartosa and Unstoppable Force. I mean, it's a possibility. We can't confederate with these guys unless we mod it to do so, and I'm still thinking about it. On the other hand, owning Sartosa ourselves might not be the worst thing in the world either. Siren, more horde growth, beautiful. Fellbat for Aid McMaggot. I don't think so, at least not right now. You're going to stay on the Rotting Promethean rather than the Fellbat. Although, flying around and dropping bombs on enemies might be quite nice as well. Anyway, let's see. You are at... Well, that's not good. 68, it dropped. I wanted to check the adjacency bonus, and it was going to be 83, but because it dropped, that doesn't help me at all. Alright, so let's double check it in another way. You're at 68. Should be getting a +2 adjacency bonus. Let's delete you, see if this drops to 66 next turn. And hopefully it doesn't change any further. Oh, this is changing it, isn't it? Okay, but it'll be a +5, so that'll be... Okay, let's try this again. I'm looking at the wrong thing, aren't I? Let's see. +2. This will go up to +5, so it'll be 68 to 73 to 75. I assume. We'll see if that is in fact the case. Anyway, you, Count Noctilus, go for that Remnants of Battle, and then start on your way to the ogres, please. And sail to the wreck, and auto-resolve this, not worth our time, not even any rotting lights. Oh wow, our poor depth guard. That ain't great. We'll run some captives, fortunately, which since we have that regenerative hull, we are pretty darn solid in terms of getting our HP back up and running. Flagship expansion as well while you're here. Rotting Promethean for Sam Thorpe, at least we're getting HP. And hey, poison attacks from Jellyfish in a Jar. I love it. I remember always putting these on the Morngull Haunters, because giving them poison attacks on top of everything else they have, it makes them real nasty. Magical damage as well. Now let's go with the Killing Cold. We'll max these guys out in terms of their tankiness. I'm gonna say Monkey Jacket. Get you that Jellyfish in a Jar as well. Beautiful. Of course, Noctis is gonna get the other defensive structure. And another map found, and lost cargo. Nice pickup from that, Noctilus. Let's see if there are any treasure maps that are nearby. Oh, this one's kind of close. Alright, it's near Luther Harkin as well. We can also build a barb launcher. Barb launcher now or tier 4? Tier 4 would give us access to Ghost Helmsman quickly. Ooh, it would give us access to flamethrowers. Not necessarily in this army, but we can put them in an army. Yeah, we'll wait. We'll wait. Let's go for the sea cabin. I want that. You can go all the way to Volcano Island, I guess, or at least close to it. And we're gonna get ready to go after these guys. I assume no more islands are on the way. Let's see if there's buildings to be building, and let's see what we got here. So everybody, wait, you're in bat swarms, eh? You know what, stay in bat swarms, let the others grow. I'm fine with that. More or less. Alright, let's upgrade Rocky Isle. Frankly, as going through a few turns like this is probably going to be quite helpful to us in the long run. You know what, delete this. In the long run, because it'll enable us to get enough money to get more armies out and about. Delete this as well. We don't have room for the trees and nooses. Alright, so again, this should in theory be... Wait, it's 78 now. Huh? Damn it. Okay, this is getting confusing. Why was it doing that? I have no idea. So now it should be 78 plus 5 plus 2, so 85 again. I think, unless it becomes buggy again. And if it does, I'm just gonna ignore the adjacency thing and just do the port buffs everywhere. Not the ports generate a crazy amount of money. How much? Okay, let me just compare. Also, if anybody's already played this and already knows the answer, please let me know, because this is gonna break my brain. The adjacency bonus gives +8 to all adjacent buildings and all adjacent provinces, whereas this is just 10% income from all ports, but all regions and provinces. Basic ports don't actually generate a lot of cash, so that isn't anything crazy. But then again, none of our buildings really generate a lot of cash. Actually, tier 5 ports are solid. Even if tier 3 ports are not. So yeah, I'm still... Secret Fence versus... Secret Fence or Hidden Fence or whatever versus the other thing. Which is this, Midnight Gambling, done in the upgrade from ports. Hard to say. Anyway, I still think it depends on whether the adjacency bonus works. For now, though, we've built everything we can, which means skip, 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 and double-check Diplo, because I haven't checked it in 8 years, and we're okay. The missions that we've got, though, are time-limited, are they not? Declare war on the Pirates of Sartosa certainly is. This one is not, though, and we'll still have to send a hero out there. And speaking of heroes, let me just take a quick gander at what we've got here. There's that other devastating flanker. Ah, there's another infamous monstrosity. I'm tempted to get a second one on field just to start leveling it. It doesn't have to stay in this army. We can just replace one of the zombie pirate gunnery mobs.
Watch them closely.
It's a very, very nice hero to have. I'll take a quick look at these things as well. And I think we've seen all the ones. I really want another gunnery white, but yeah, let's get another infamous monstrosity. Why not? Why not? Recruit. Expensive it may be, but still worth leveling up. And then we'll just transfer one of the gunners to the other army. And then slowly we fill up Noctilus's army with better troops and then trade them to the other army, and then we'll have 2 armies all of a sudden. Alright, I just had a thought. Is the center of the Maelstrom actually counts as a territory, meaning that's where Zinch's... Ooh, wait, does that mean that we have a landmark there? I am certainly interested in that. What I'm also interested in is this. This is now 83. Aha! So it doesn't count, meaning the adjacency bonus... Wait. I canceled it. Wait, I deleted it. Was it 85 before, or was it not? Damn it. Oh, why do I keep confusing myself? Alright, fine. Rebuild this and we'll double check again. It's only one turn, so it doesn't make too much of a difference, and it's barely any money, but I'm going to get annoyed. It's just that if this works, the adjacency bonus is going to be significantly more powerful if it works for 2 provinces, than only 10% for only the ports for only this one province. Unless I'm mistaken. Although this does generate a little bit of its own cash, but it's 2 provinces versus 1, and it's 8% and all that. Alright, let's try it one more time. Let's see if this goes to 85 or whatever. Yeah, 85. In the meantime, let's also build you a nice slave pit, and let's upgrade you... Or, wait. What do we have here? Now, delete the lynching post, upgrade this to get more money out of the slave pits. They will, yeah, the slave pits are generating tons of cash now. And, yeah, upgrade you as well. That's all the cash we got. Alright, then Noctilus, stop the Dreadfleet expansion, and also lose the... Yeah, and grab the Siren. Alright, then, I assume you can enter the army? Not a max distance. Alright, let's do this, go here. You, sir, can take one of the handguns. For now. Huh? Oh, what the heck? Oh, apparently you can't unless you march stance. Alright, fine. Noctis, if you go here, can we still reach you with the hero? Okay, yeah, we can. We're still fine. We're still fine. I didn't realize that the port was on this side. That's definitely my bad. Yeah, take one of the handguns, doesn't matter. Then we'll pop you into the Noctilus army. And then he's got 2. Well, they can act as monsters until we have more necrofexes, and ooh, if we do have enough money at the end of this, we'll get another necrofex. Also, you leave the army. And then enter the army again. And we'll actually probably need another one of these, which we frankly should probably start leveling, so there is that. Anyway, keep moving forward and flagship expansion until we reach Sculler's Gate and see what's going on over here. The episode is running long, but I'm having a lot of fun, so we're just going to keep going for at least a little bit longer. I told you guys before, I don't believe in clocks. Skip and then turn. Ooh, would you look at that? Scrag the Slaughterer is doing good work. He's nearly destroyed this faction by the looks of it, which means we should probably try to knock him out before these guys, just by virtue of the fact that as soon as these guys are gone, he will turn upon us, and we have no choice in the matter. Now, 85, meaning adjacency bonus works, meaning back alleys should in theory be superior to the port bonuses unless I'm mistaken. At least I hope I'm right about this. So that's what we'll be doing. Alright, and let's keep going with the buildings. So slave pits here. I'd love to upgrade the port, but I guess we're going with back alleys here as well. And 2.4k, wait, let's double check whether we can build any more. Aha, cheap slave pits. Although, I assume this place... Is this actually a ford, or... Well, if it is, then the adjacency bonus would still work. Okay. I guess we need those everywhere. And we can still afford to upgrade the port, if just barely so that's what we'll do. In Noctilus, how far can you travel? Pretty darn far. Let's go right up to Mr. Scraggy, see if he stays there or moves away. We are most definitely out of time, but if we can get one more battle going, I would love to see it, so let's see. Let's see if he sticks around or whether he goes for the next territory. Besides, we can move very, very far, even if he doesn't. One more turn ended. I'm gonna ignore the skill points for now. I know it drives some people crazy, but in the name of saving time. Alright, hello, what do we have here? Armor for melee infantry units versus range and reload. Yeah, that's what we're doing. But anyway, the sight of wrecked ships is nothing new for a seasoned pirate, but this particular one heralds a welcome surprise. Packed to the keel with brand new weapons, armor, and gunpowder, this ship's cargo hold is several times the size of our own. However, some supplies will have to be left behind. What should we loot from the ship? Okay, this all aside... The cargo ship is several times the size of our own. I know that this is a generic thing, but that's almost impossible because, well, I will go for fill 'em with lead, because this is the frickin' Reaver we're talking about. Noctilus's own ship, the Bloody Reaver, is basically the Warhammer Fantasy's version of a Space Hulk, but on ships. It's pretty much a black arc. It's Noctilus's castle teleported to the Maelstrom, and then a bunch of pieces of other ships jammed together around it to create this absolute monstrosity of a thing. It's actually too bad that the Bloody Reaver doesn't have a sort of black arc style battle, because it's probably the size of a small black arc. Obviously not the size of a city-sized black arc like Nagarond or Haggrief or any of those, but the smaller seagoing black arcs that are still used by the Dark Elves would probably be something along this size, though they vary in size quite a bit. Also, we did build another one of these fences, yes, so this should now be another +2. Huh? No, it didn't go up. It should be +4 now, but it didn't. Well, that's confusing. Okay, delete them both. I'm gonna keep doing this until I figure out whether this actually works or not. Delete... Okay, you know what? Delete one, see if it changes, then delete the other and see if it changes. All adjacent provinces, not regions, provinces. So weird. 85. Well, the slave pits. And also upgrade this while we're here. Anyway, Noctilus, you... Ooh, wait, we had a mission to assassinate some guy. This. So we get a free Book of Assure and Infamy +100, and all we have to do is carry out a successful assassination, wound or kill of a character belonging to the enemy. Now, you have 2 heroes here. We have bonus assassination capabilities on you. Let's see if what your chances are of actually achieving this. 29 and 30. And negative outcome 70%. It's basically not going to happen. Wounded 8%, eh? I mean, we could give it a shot. I don't see it working. But we can give it a try. Who knows? Give it a try. Okay, never mind. I definitely should have done that. Good job, me. I did do it. Alright, that worked out really well. A Book of Assure for you, sir. And I guess we're attacking Scraggy now. So, Noctilus, you shall land, and you shall fight. One more fight. Alright, we're gonna ask you to join, because you will give us money for this, even though we intend to destroy you immediately after. That's a decent amount of cash as well. But we may as well take the time to wipe out this guy's main stack while we're here, alright? Go for the Crumbling Castle. And you know what? He's not leaving. I think we're not going to leech XP with the other army, because I'm a little bit afraid that with the additions that he's going to actually sail out of the port, and I'd rather him not do that. So let's just fight like this. One more fight this episode, long though it has been. Hopefully nobody's complaining. Alright, that was pretty cool. 3 types of artillery fire, Queen Bess and the Bat Bombs, and the Necrophex Colossus all at the same time, instantly dropping the Saber Tusk pack down to about 20% of its HP, and a couple more volleys, or actually not even a need for a couple more volleys, as the Saber Tusks are gonna book it on out of there before they get hit by Bess. And that's alright. We're gonna get ourselves set up, move towards the enemy, while we drop a few of those single target bat bombs on the enemy tower and bring it down rather quickly. So perhaps I was right in thinking that they are similar to Demolisher rockets, as well at the very least, and they seem to be solid against enemy structures. Now we do stand against Scrag here, who does have casting abilities. He does have regeneration and is a pretty decent fighter as well, so we will have to be at least somewhat careful here, but I do believe that we have quite the advantage, and the enemy is going to get in its own own way. It's the big problem with ogres, and we have a lot of artillery fire to bring down upon them as they blob up trying to get to us. And just gonna have to be careful in the way that we approach this. And acquire Scrag's defeat trait, which, if I'm recalling correctly, is pretty nice. At the very least, I do know that it has something to do with magic, and power reserve is certainly something that you want as much as possible of in every vampire army. Anyway, looks like some of the enemy ogres do manage to leave the confines of their settlement or the protection of their walls, but as soon as they do, they will get gunned down. So either they stay in there and get bombarded, or they come out and they get gunned down. Not a great place to be, I suppose. We're not going to just win the entire battle doing that, though, because, well, we already did that with that siege battle, where we just obliterated the enemy with Bess, so we will absolutely move in and actually get some fighting done. I mean, granted, we got fighting done in that particular battle as well, but, yeah, not going to just obliterate the ogres with artillery is what I'm getting at. And would have been cool if the structure collapsed, but ooh, we can see the rain of secondary munitions, though, from that explosion, which is pretty nice. And what the heck, the ogres appear to have backed off to a blob. Maybe they're trying to loop around Scrag. I'm not entirely sure what the heck that was. Weird behavior from the AI on occasion, but it might be the sort of weird nature of the minor settlement interfering. Anyway, I'm going to speed this up a little bit as the enemy does get annoyed and moves towards us, and we will get into the fray as well. The Morngul Hunter will lead and start taking care of some Nobblers and Ogres alike, and then hot on its heels will be Noctilus together with his Necrofex Colossus. Ooh, very nice point-blank shot directly into the back of that ogre's head. And here come more ogres, plenty more where that came from, of course, and here comes the Crabby Boy as well, our Vampire Fleet Captain slash Crabby Boy, and we're going to try to move in our Depth Guard and in Altar of the Abyss to buff everybody up. It does look like the enemy was wise to that as well, and will in fact countercharge us and head down to fight the Depth Guard, which I'm perfectly fine with, as I'm interested to see how well they can hold with the Altar of the Abyss. Even without it providing healing, the additional armor buffs the Depth Guard up to 120, which is pretty solid. And should the enemy be able to do fire damage, we've got the fire resistance. And the Vigorous trait, I assume, is coming from the Foam-Encrusted Brine, or do these guys generally have Vigorous? I don't know. Anyway, this is going to be the job for the Depth Guard in this particular battle. Hold the choke point while bats with explosives rain from above, and all of our handguns and pistols fire away. The ogres tower over us and have the elevation advantage, but it's not an advantage here, and it's working against them as we are able to fire into the entire blob. I'm going to slow them down as well as reduce their melee attack with the Fog of the Damned by 50%. And while out here, we are still very much in the fight as well. The Morngul Hunter has clearly dropped a fair few of the ogres together with the Necrofex Colossus, though by the looks of it, Scrag has actually taken about half of the HP off of the Vampire Fleet Captain, who he's been focusing down this entire time. Noctilus has been trying to break through the blob of ogres to get to Scrag and fight him one-on-one, but unfortunately, until Scrag is on his Necrofex Colossus, it's going to be difficult to do such things, as he just doesn't have the mass. Anyway, it looks like our guns have pretty much cleared all the enemies here. Our guns and our artillery. And it looks like Scrag will remain with a loyal cohort of some Gorgers and Iron Fists, and that I'd wager not for too long. Gorgers will interfere between Scrag and Noctilus, interfere with their duel, I mean, and damn, Scrag makes Noctilus look tiny by comparison. But that certainly don't mean he's stronger. And it's not going to last forever once again, as when we have the Necrofex mount for Noctilus, that'll be it. That'll be different. And he'll be the one towering over everybody else. And it looks like Noctilus is surrounded, getting beaten up a little bit by Scrag and the Gorgers, but maybe they're having a little bit of a tough time getting through his armor, though they do drop him down to 50% HP and actually force him to use one of his heals. Now that's alright though, we've got the other units moving in. If Scrag doesn't want to duel one-on-one, we'll have the Mourngull Haunter and the Captain and the Necrofex Colossus take care of the Gorgers. And then we'll work on Scrag himself. Not that by the looks of it it's going to be needed, as Scrag drops to 30% of his HP and gives up, forcing the rest of his army to give up as well. And the bony, ghostly hand of that Mourngull Haunter reaches towards the Gorgers. They are in some ways, I suppose, kindred spirits, although the one will devour the other. And I think we all know who's going to be the devourer and who's going to be the devouree in this particular case. Anyway, with that, the battle is ours. Scrag attempts to make it out of there with that cookpot of his. But I think the Mourngull Haunter wants to claim that for himself as well. And there we are. Lovely. Scrag's main stack, I think at least, destroyed, or at least his own personal stack. Whether he has another bigger stack remains to be seen. And we'll find out as we go and take out his faction. Alrighty, there we go. Fairly impressed with Scrag's melee prowess, as he was able to heavily damage our Vampire Fleet Captain and fight on par. And with Count Noctilus, looks like this single shot of the Batwing Bombards did okay against the Ogres, but nothing too crazy. Admittedly, I feel like I like the split shot better, though I hadn't tried the single shot against blobs of infantry either, so we shall see. But at least they are capable of damaging things like Ogres, so monstrous infantry, knights, etc. etc. Anyway, decent damage on, wow, 80,000 damage against Ogres on Queen Beswell, once again. She's the queen. Lovely fight. Scrag's main stack is destroyed. I'm pretty sure that he has more than one stack, however. And, ooh, more casualty or punishment rate? Yeah, I think Noctilus is at max casualty or punishment rate already, which is just so nice after the Chaos Dwarfs, who have no casualty or punishment rate to speak of, which is... Oh, I can't even. But anyway, it was so hard to get that from them. Anyway, with that, we are very much out of time. This episode went way longer than I was originally intending, but I was having a lot of fun, and, well, this is all in the name of fun, after all. Next time, we look to wipe out the Disciples of the Maw, hopefully the Darkness Daughters, and then head on into the Maelstrom itself, wipe out the Sharktooth, and then grab the, this last little Tzeentchian territory for ourselves. As well, the Seamaw. I'm really curious to see whether there is indeed a landmark or something there. Anyway, more Noctilus to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially the threshold for the longer episodes. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.